Alright, we're on the draw with Rug Delver, and this hand is a mulligan. We have a Stomping Ground. We don't have a Traverse though, so we can't really reliably cast, firstly, 4 of the spells in our hand. We need another land before we can play that Goyf. This is also pretty bad. There's a chance we bobble into something good. We're also on the draw, and we have a Scry. But really, Mountain is the worst land we could see here. We're going to go to 5. That I'll keep. That's a good keep. I don't really need a third land currently, so we'll just hold off on that. Fortunately, we have a couple burn spells here, and they're on Tron. Okay. Burn spells are the worst thing we could possibly see. Well, I mean, not the absolute worst, but the worst interaction. Okay, there's Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag's the worst interaction against Tron. Fortunately, we drew this Delver, which is pretty amazing. Assuming they don't collected Brutality or Fatal Push or Pyroclasm or Lightning Bolt. They went with a Ghost Quarter, so maybe they don't kill it. But yeah, Burn is not what you want early game against Tron. Early, we want to drop a threat, maybe counter a couple of their enablers, a Sylvan Scrying, an Ancient Stirrings, a map, and then you just delay them getting on Tron while you do as much damage as possible, and then we want to draw the burn. Warping Whale is another piece of interaction that kills Delver quite handily. Well, it exiles him, so I guess he's technically not dead, but essentially the same. Now, there is an instant in the graveyard and a land. So this Tarmogoyf is not bolt proof. However, if we don't cast this Tarmogoyf right now, not white now, right now, I think the chances of us winning this game are very, very, very small. So we're going to do it anyways, and hope that they're A, not playing red, B, don't have Lightning Bolt in their hand if they are. It still dies to Fatal Push regardlessly. And not Warping Whale, Path. That's another. It really depends what color of Tron they're on. We have no idea yet. We know that they play colorless cards and lands that produce colorless mana. Okay, it looks like Eldrazi Tron. I don't think most normal Tron variants run Chalice. These burn spells just became horrendous. However, we're still going to Tarfire them because it puts a tribal card type in the graveyard, making this Tarmogoyf a 3/4. We don't need to see that anymore. Okay, well, I was kind of hoping they were getting mana screwed. Now they can play cards, probably. Of course, not seeing other Urzatron lands or Eldrazi Temple is a very good sign against this deck, knock on wood. Expedition map makes it high. Hey, nice, Chalice. They just put an artifact in the graveyard for us. I think they forgot about their Chalice. I can't imagine there's much of a reason to do that otherwise. They just grew our Goyf and gave us information. I don't think we need to play this mountain, so we're just not going to. If we draw another land and miss a land drop because of that, it literally doesn't hurt us at all, because neither of these spells is going to resolve. So I don't care about that. And we aren't running any 5-drops. Once again, we need to hit another land first before it matters. So I just like having the extra bluff. It's highly likely they just drew that, given the map play they did last turn. We're not going to do anything with these bolts. That is a very good card to draw. I think we just swing, even though they're going to chump and theoretically get value out of it. We have to get through this Matter Reshaper. We have no way of killing it. Even if we did, bolting a Matter Reshaper feels awful. And that, I believe, goes into their hand because it does not have a converted mana cost of 3 or less. Yeah, that's what it says. He revealed it and drew a card. No, he drew a card just now. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Okay, so it doesn't explicitly state in the X-Mage log that it was put in the hand, but it was put in the hand. Unfortunately, they won't be casting that for a little while. This Chalice kind of borked them. Otherwise, that map probably would have gotten a temple, and they'd have 5 Eldrazi mana, and I can't imagine they have 6 cards in hand and don't have a Reality Smasher or Thought-Knot Seer. I like playing this land because it's going to thin our deck. We'll get in for 5, thanks to that creature type getting in the graveyard. And if we could resolve one of these bolts, we would have lethal right now. Unfortunately, we can't. They're making a Scion. I'm honestly considering countering that, but unless they top deck an Eldrazi Temple, they won't be playing this Endbringer. Maybe they're going for Thought-Knot? And really, I'd like to counter something that actually gets their game plan going. We're not really afraid of Reality Smasher or Thought-Knot Seer right now. I mean, Thought-Knot takes our denial. Countering the... Oh, what's that card called? It's not Warping Wail. Is it Warping Wail? Warping Wail's the modal one? Warping Wail is the modal one. I was thinking that other 2-mana Eldrazi-ish spell that people probably just don't play. So I don't know what the actual name is. But anyways, I think it has a similar removal effect. I don't know. Yeah, there's the Thought-Knot Seer off of it. They take our Stubborn Denial. So letting them do that basically sets us back 1 turn worth of clock because they take our Stubborn Denial, which we would have lost anyways countering the spell they used to ramp. We don't need to see our hand because our hand's here. And they get to block with the Thought-Knot. They took a Lightning Bolt. That was odd. That was very odd. We're going to fetch. I don't know why he took the Lightning Bolt. Maybe he forgot about Chalice again? That's absolutely dreadful. We're going to attack. Hopefully draw something nice. I assume he blocks. Maybe he doesn't. I'd block. Of course, Chalice offers some protection. Yeah, I guess he's remembering Chalice now. Now that he knows about the mountain, there's no point in holding it. They don't know about the Tarfire, so that's good. And we still have Stubborn in hand, for some strange reason. We can't cast Stubborn anyways, that's why. Chalice, I was thinking about just the burn spells. So I guess that decision just didn't even exist. Which is not really comforting, but, you know. And that denial doesn't do anything either. We're going to attack. They will block. And we're going to see what we draw off of Thought-Knot Seer. So letting them get a Thought-Knot Seer actually ended up being very good because none of our cards did anything. Steam Vents is absolutely dreadful here. This Tarmogoyf did so much work. No, they're not dead. And we don't have a main deck way of getting rid of Chalice of the Void, so realistically, they can still win. We're just gonna keep attacking. They're probably going to keep blocking. And we need to not... Well, we need to hit something good. A second Tarmogoyf would do it. That's an excellent card to see. Actually, that's a terrible card to see. They can cast that. No, they can't play it yet. If they draw a land, they can go Chalice for 2. And that cuts out a lot of things that we could do. Of course, if they tap out, they're dead. So I guess we don't need to worry about that. Walking Ballista. That's at least somewhat interesting. It's going to come in with 1+1+1 counter. They can chalice for 0 if they like. It's likely that they block Goyf and then shoot us in the face for 1. We can pretend we have Blood Moon shenanigans. Second Tarmogoyf. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. We're gonna get in there with Goyf 1. They're gonna block and probably hit us. Yep, we take 1. And we're just going to play Goyf number 2. I don't believe they have any way of answering us now. So, unfortunately for them, they just got extraordinarily mana screwed. Of course, I guess the Chalice play also hurt them. Now, Eldrazi Tron is a matchup that I tested for at least a little while prior to the probe ban, so I knew what to do back then. I don't know if I know what to do right now. So, Explosives probably isn't very good. This is a matchup where I'd rather have Revelry number 2. Let's just put some cards down here. Ancient Grudge is another great card because it blows up Chalice of the Void. I actually don't know if they run other artifacts, but blowing up Chalice of the Void is worth it. As you saw, Blood Moon is excellent. And I also quite like Huntmaster of the Fells. Huntmaster is kinda sorta slow because it is 4 mana, so it's at least somewhat counterintuitive to bring him in here. However, Huntmaster does amazing amounts of work against Eldrazi decks. Against Bant, he makes using Displacer dreadful because they gain you 2 life and give you a 2/2. Against, well, he also transforms, does damage, kills mana dorks, and then swings in for trample, which is quite nice. He gives great amounts of value for keeping up with their board state against that deck. And then against Eldrazi Tron, he just gives you sort of like in-between inevitability. They still win the long game, but Huntmaster wins you the almost long game by giving you an army of wolves, shooting them in the face, and theoretically hitting for 4. They do outsize it, but if they don't actually play win cons, which the Eldrazi Tron deck usually uses the same win cons as Bant Eldrazi, instead of the Tron win cons, such as Ugin. I think they run 1 Karn usually, sometimes in the sideboard, sometimes in the main. But anyways, those win cons don't ignore the win cons that Eldrazi Tron uses have to attack. And Huntmaster just happens to give you a crap load of things to block with. Dismember is also quite nice, although I haven't actually played this matchup since the probe ban. So technically I don't know that I like the second Dismember, but I think I do. Spell Snare's bad. Vapor Snag's bad. I have to kind of hurry up because I spent a little bit of time talking, a lot of bit of time talking just now. We're going to cut the denials, I think. I like this Traverse. 63 cards. We didn't go Reveler. Boots is good. Bolts. We need to trim bolts. Okay, we'll start with that and we will fine-tune it afterwards. Well, I guess that assumes that we go to a game 3. This hand is not very good because the only spell we can cast is Tarfire. This hand is significantly better because we can get a Stomping Ground, Traverse, and then get an Island. I don't want Snapcaster Mage. I think I would have trimmed at least 1 more Bolt to bring in another counterspell, either Mana Leak or Stubborn Denial, because countering Eldrazi threats is great. Unfortunately, they started with an Eldrazi Temple, which is kind of really scary, because that does not bode well for us. We're just going to use this Traverse and do our thing. Hopefully we top deck a forest and can Blood Moon them next turn. That'd be nice. That would be quite nice. We need an island. I don't want to accidentally grab the wrong basic. Oh, getting a mountain there would be so bad. I was thinking about how awful it would be to grab a forest and not be able to play the blue spells, but mountain makes it even worse. They can't take Blood Moon because we have 2. Well, I mean, they theoretically could, but they don't want to, assumably. So they're probably going to take either Revelry or Goyf. Revelry if they're leaning on Chalice, and Goyf in just about every other scenario. As we saw last game, Goyf was very good. Tarmogoyf is a good card, who knew? I think on the play we like Mana Leak, because you can theoretically nab their turn 2 Thought-Knot. On the draw it feels a lot worse, because I'm probably just never going to cast this. Now that they have a 4/4 on turn 2. And that's basically like playing a Hooting Mandrills. That also gets to pseudo Thoughtseize you. So they're definitely far ahead. So I don't think we can really play to the stack. We need to either add to the board, which is why I would be very sad if they took this Tarmogoyf, or we need to kill their guy, which means drawing a Dismember and still taking 4. Blood Moon also is looking pretty bad right now because they're so far ahead on board. Blood Moon is better against their slow draws, where they just hope to land like 2 Eldrazi Temples, 1 of each Urzatron land, and just get a mother load of mana, and then you play a Blood Moon and their mana advantage goes away. As is, these Blood Moons look absolutely terrible. Well, Mishra's Bauble technically isn't a bad draw. It's just a delayed one. I don't really care to see what I'm getting, because I'm about to draw it, and it doesn't make a difference to me until I draw it. We're probably going to end up mana leaking that. Of course, they might just go Eldrazi Smasher. Reality Smasher. It was a Tarfire, look at that. That's not good here. A third Eldrazi Temple. Okay, so it's hard to feel bad when your opponent has such a high variance draw, but at the same time, our sideboarding and mulliganing decisions technically matter. I think they're baiting out a Mana Leak with this. It is possible they have nothing better to do than to play that Reshaper, but I just feel like when you have that much mana and so many things you can do, I mean, they can cast every Eldrazi in their deck except for Ulamog. I don't think they run anything bigger than Ulamog, or anything between Ulamog and that dude we saw last game off of Reshaper. He's 6 mana. We're going to get a forest, just in case we top deck a Tarmogoyf to stabilize and then can drop a Blood Moon. I think that's just about our only out here. It still lets us hold up Mana Leak. The dude's 6 mana, he's a 5/5. He can tap to ping. He can tap to prevent dudes from attacking and blocking. And I believe he can even tap to draw a card. He does have to pay mana for the last one, though. I don't remember if he has to pay mana for the other 2. Endbringer? I think it's Endbringer. I believe I'm talking about Endbringer. We might find out during this game. We might find out during the next game. I don't really mind them having a Tron land because I don't think it matters at this point. We're extremely far behind, and our only real out is, I think, Tarmogoyf. I don't really want to Dismember at this point because they hit us. Okay, they have another Thought-Knot. That one gets countered, so that's good. They cannot pay 3 for this. Mana Leak does not make the spell cast cost 3 more, in which case they can 2 with Temple. They just have to pay 3 to leak. Of course, they might have... Nope. Warping Whale counters sorceries, not instants. So that does that. We're going down to 6, and Dismember just straight up kills us at this point. So I would like to see a big fat Tarmogoyf. Hooting Mandrills is somewhat acceptable. Misty Rainforest, unfortunately, is not the card that we needed. So we're just going to roll over and die. We do get to look at sideboarding better next game, though. So that's good. We're going to take a nice long, roughly 2.5 minute look at what cards we want against this deck, particularly on the play. Okay, your Chalice of the Void, I guess, protects you from removal spells? But why? I suppose I should try to kill this Matter Reshaper, because I technically can get another turn out of this game. And we really shouldn't be going down without a fight, so... It's a Warping Whale, which they draw. Matter Reshaper is actually a very pushed card when you think about it. With Eldrazi Temple, it's... What are they doing? Making a Scion? They are making a Scion. I guess they have a 6... No, not a 6-drop. An 8-drop? Maybe? Chalice on 1 is fine. I really don't care. We're going to thin our deck. Oh, that's the trick. Eldrazi Scion. Okay, so we can't fetch. Eldrazi Scion's 1 point of power means that Tarmogoyf does not save us if we fetch. So we just have to hope, and we did not get there. Fortunately, I did notice the Tarfire Matter Reshaper line, because I would have been very upset if I rewatched this or somebody mentioned it and I found out that I just gave up. But this was not the percentage of games that matters. Of course, now we get to look at this. I really hate that it doesn't sort the way I want it to. It did before. I should try resorting this in the deck editor. Maybe that'll fix it. Anyways, we don't like Vapor Snack. We do like Mana Leak, I think. On the play, I like Mana Leak. Blood Moon also gets a lot better on the play, just by nature of casting it sooner rather than later. Now, almost every threat they have dies to Dismember. Thought-Knot, Reality Smasher, and Endbringer, assuming that is in fact its name. I'm 99% certain that's the right Eldrazi, but just about any Eldrazi could be classified as Endbringer because they kind of eat worlds, so there's that. But Dismember, I think, is very good here, and it's also a nice opportunity to test out the second Dismember, or at least work towards testing it out, because a single game is a sample size of 1, and that's absolutely atrocious for anything statistically meaningful. But one of the main reasons I have this second Dismember in the sideboard is for Eldrazi decks. So if I'm not bringing it in here, maybe I just drop it entirely. I want to drop another Lightning Bolt. I think 4 is good. Tarfire gets to stay because of Traverse and Tarmogoyf. I think Bobble is okay. We're going to throw Bobble. Come on. Why couldn't it just go here? Look at all the space that's right here. Bobble has to go down there. Thanks for that. Okay, Hooting Mandrills I think is where you want to be. I do not like the Bedlam Reveler plan against this deck. You wouldn't play it against Tron. Why would you play it here? Why are we looking to draw 3 cards and get a 3/4 against a deck that's casting Ulamog probably before we can do that? So that, I don't like that. I don't think that's a good plan. We need to cut 1 more card to get this down sufficiently, and I want at least 1 Stubborn Denial, I think. They don't play Path, so maybe not. Denial is a lot better against Bant. Path Rest in Peace, Blessed Alliance, Ancient Stirrings, all sorts of things you'd like to counter. What one card? I'm thinking about one card that I can drop. Meanwhile, there's a Bauble sitting all by itself. It's kind of funny. I want to leave in the Dismember. I think I want all 3 Blood Moons, although they don't have a way to get rid of them. So maybe that's better against Jund where they can discard it. I'm leaning towards just dropping this Bauble. Maybe Hoots? Yeah. No. Bauble. Nope, we missed it. We have Bauble in our deck. I think Hooting Mandrills is right here. We're going to keep this because of the Stomping Ground Island off of Traverse Line. I think 3 Hooting Mandrills is... Okay, that was extremely disappointing. I think Hooting Mandrills is right because A, we need to be aggressive, and B, I don't mind losing the ability to Delirium a little bit off of Traverse due to Delve because we are looking to be aggressive. So tutoring is a lot less likely to matter, as much as just finding a land to get the ball rolling, like that hand was about to. I guess our opponent had to go, maybe the phone rang, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed our little foray into the Eldrazi Tron matchup, and I will see you next time.